Hi, I'm going to briefly tell you about Wu Wei and talk about aligning our actions with nature. So let's look at the definition of Wu Wei. You can see here it's Chinese, Wu Wei, meaning non-action or actionless action. It's a central principle in the Chinese philosophy of Daoism. The principle affirms that one should live spontaneously in accordance with the natural flow of the cosmos called Tao, and not act against this natural order and rhythm of nature. Okay, so that's enough of the definition. And I watched a video recently on YouTube, which I'm going to show you, and it's also linked in the description below. The video is called The Art of Letting Things Happen. Yeah, and so the idea of Wu Wei, there's different ways to explain it. It's not just the simple definition, and it applies to our lives in many different ways, right? But one way to describe it is effortless action. So this idea that, some people describe it as non-action. Some people describe it as doing nothing. It's not really doing nothing. One of the ways in the video he describes it is if you, where is it? Yeah. With Wu Wei, we're not so much doing, but we're going. So we're not really doing anything. We're just going. We're moving. And so think about it in terms of floating down a river. If you're in a river and you're just floating, you're moving, but you're not doing anything, right? And in that little example of the river is nature. Nature flows, and if you go along with it, you're fine. Well, you're fine. You might not be fine. You might go through over a waterfall, but if you were to try to swim upriver, then you're fighting against nature, and that's where problems can happen. So yeah, aligning our actions with nature. It's this is an ancient idea, right? It's like nature is so powerful, and we should align our actions to that. Like if you're going to grow a flower, it takes time for the flower to grow. You can't pull on the flower, try to pull it up and make it taller, right? That doesn't work. Nature takes its own time to do things, and nature can do things that humans cannot do. So what happens in our lives, especially in the West, but really everywhere around the world, is our ego gets so big, and we think we have to put in effort and we have to do everything. And yes, we have to do a lot of things. That's true. And we have to take action. Yes. But trying to follow this idea of Wu Wei is very interesting to me. And so that's why I wanted to tell you about it. In today's world, there's a lot of overthinking, overanalyzing, over-preparing, and trying to control the flow, right? Because we human beings, we're the best, and we know everything, and we can do anything. No, that's not true. And in the video, which again, I'll link to below, really interesting, he talks about going on a date. And if you go on a date and you're overthinking it, you're overanalyzing it, you're over-prepared, you have goals that you want to achieve. Like when you hang out with that other person on the date, you're not going to be natural, and you're not really going to be yourself. It's like you're brainwashed with your own brainwashing, and you're just, yeah. So the opposite of that is to go on a date unprepared and just act natural, act in the moment, and act spontaneously. And when you meet people that do that, right? They're just in the moment. They're spontaneous. It's just, there's a lightness in the air, right? They're not trying to control everything and control nature. It's really nice being around people like that, right? I find it nice when you're around people that just, it's just more natural and less fake. It's authentic in a way. So yeah, and our ego leads us astray. Our ego thinks we can do anything and everything, and we think that we're bigger and better than nature. And the ego closes us off to what's really going on. So what can you do? Return to a more unprocessed state The uncarved block. Think of that. The uncarved block. Unencumbered by intellectual baggage, so your vision of the world becomes clear. Yeah, if we transcend the ego, then our vision of the world will be much more accurate, right? With the ego, we can't really understand the world because we're just focusing so narrowly. But without the ego, and you can just be and do, the way you apprehend the world is much more accurate and helpful and all that. So, all right, so let's go to the video. I want to show you a quick quote that's on the screen here. And so the whole practitioner is able to, from the clarity, sorry, I have to move my little thing. I'll start over. And so the whole practitioner is able to, from the clarity of his egoless center, observe all the relevant forces in a certain situation in their being, undistorted, so he can respond to them flawlessly. Yeah, so you're just apprehending nature for what it is. Sorry. I have to go to my notes, and I'm going to find, it's 10:27, this video. I'm just finding that right now for you guys.
Between Confucius and one of his pupils. Lao Tzu tells us a story about a conversation between Confucius and one of his pupils, Yen Wei. Yen Wei wanted to travel to the kingdom of Wu Wei after he heard about its many problems and tyrannical ruler. So he planned to use his knowledge and wisdom to lecture the king of Wu Wei and steer the kingdom into the right direction. Confucius persuaded Yen Wei not to do it, telling him that his plans were too ego-driven and wouldn't work. After all, no one is waiting for a know-it-all coming out of nowhere, telling you how to take care of your business, let alone a self-absorbed tyrant. But still, Confucius offered an alternative, which he called the fasting of the heart. Confucius described the fasting of the heart as a form of meditation, which leads to letting our preconceptions go and making room to receive. With an open and receptive attitude, Yen Wei would learn about Wei and its king, their customs and beliefs, the situation as it plays out, and eventually be much more capable of lending a helping hand. In this understanding of Wu Wei, we let go of the ego, so we can act in accordance with the situation at hand, as it is. We let things happen and act responsively, unrestrained by our limited preconceived ideas. Or, as Lao Tzu put it, we return to being uncarved blocks. Chong state.
There you go. We return to being uncarved blocks. Now, again, everything has a balance, right? You can't live every moment of your life like this, especially right now. I mean, maybe you could, I don't know. But, you know, we all sort of live normal lives, and sort of learning these concepts and building them into our normal life, it does take time. But that's why I'm making videos here and hanging out with you guys, because I'm learning about this stuff and I continue to learn deeper, and I want to incorporate all this into my life. And I am to some degree, but I'm going to continue doing it. So, all right, well, that's it. I hope you liked that. I just wanted to let you know that, again, we do 2 live meditation streams each week, and the information is below. And also Podcast Engineering School. That's the school. That's my school, where I teach people how to work from home and earn a great living producing podcasts. So if any of that is of interest to you, feel free to check out podcastengineeringschool.com. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next time. Bye.